Alright, so this is a completely clean factory reset version of Blender 2.79b. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the Pie Menu Editor add-on, and we're going to do some cool stuff with it. And let's go ahead. So this is, like I said, a completely clean, empty version of Blender. So there's no add-ons that you don't have. There's no UI that you don't have. The only thing that, of course, you will have to get if you want to follow along is the Pie Menu Editor add-on. $12 on Gumroad on this link. And it will be in the description as well. I have no affiliation with the creator. I am not being paid by him or her. This is where you probably should put your add-ons, and not in the C program files folder of Blender, but you should put them here. So what I have to do is I have to move some add-ons over to this location. You don't want to do that. You want to put your add-ons in this location. I'm just doing that so I can work with a clean version of Blender that is unaffected by previous settings and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna copy that Pie Menu Editor. Okay, so the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy over the merge tool, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. That's a free one, by the way. There we go. All right. So now that we have that, if you go to the add-ons and search for Pie, you should see Pie Menu Editor right here. So we're going to enable this, and you already have one Pie menu, but it doesn't do anything. So the other one I'm going to enable is the, what was it called? The merge tool. Merge tool. It's not finding it. There we go. Just sometimes you have to refresh it a bunch. And I'll enable this one as well. This is by Andreas Stromberg, and you can find it and download it from his GitHub for free. It's a great add-on, and I will explain it in a second. So we'll do a lot of the work for the Pie Menu Editor in the add-ons tab in here, right? So what I'm going to show you is how you can make a very useful little custom Pie menu in a very easy, simple way. Using this add-on, and it'll speed up your modeling, and of course you can set it up however you want. And I'm going to cover the very basics of this add-on, which is the Pie menu. There's a whole bunch of other different things you can do, like regular menus, macros, and just a whole bunch of other stuff that if you buy this add-on you might want to look into. But if you just want to have the ability to create your own custom Pie menus and you don't want to learn how to write Python, then this is $12. And it definitely will pay back its worth manyfold very soon. So let's dig in. So what do we want to do? So we have our cube here, and if I go into edit mode, I can press G and move some verts. That's cool. Maybe what we want to do is we want to be able to maybe subdivide an edge very quickly, because that's what we have to do very often while we're modeling. So if you want to do this now, you would click subdivide, and then you would go to the menu here, or you would press F6 and you would increase the subdivisions and all that stuff, right? So we're going to do two things to begin with. We're going to create a Pie menu button for the subdivision, and we're going to create a Pie menu for the F6 key, which is now gone because I started doing other stuff. And that's one of the reasons why we want to have an F6 button, because the F6 button on your keyboard is kind of an unfortunate location. So maybe we start with the subdivision. So let's say that we want to put the subdivision on the left Pie menu. Here we go. So we can do this in a number of ways. One, probably the easiest way, and this is one of the greatest parts of the Pie Menu Editor in my opinion, is that if you want to subdivide an edge, you can go into your tools panel and click on subdivide here, and then you will start subdividing your edge. But what you can do now is you can right click and you can select Pie Menu Editor. And if you click on that, now you see here add to pie menu. And pie menu is referring to this specific one. Let's remove this one and create a new one. And we will rename it, double click. We'll call it GDF or Game Dev Thread Modeling. There we go. All right, so if we do the same thing now, you will see it says GDF Modeling. And that's simply because this is the one that is selected over here. If you create another one, let's call this one DDDD, and we go to Subdivision. Now it says add to pie menu. Interesting. So it didn't, probably I need to save. Let's try this again. Add to pie menu. DDDD. There you go. You have to remember to press the save user settings. So we will just remove this one again and stick with the GDF modeling. So right click on Subdivide and click on pie menu editor, add to the GDF modeling, and we'll select where we want it to be, and we want it to be on the left. You can put it wherever you want, but we will put it on the left. There we go. So now you'll see it pops up here, and what you can do is you can go into edit, you can rename it here and adjust a whole bunch of properties, which we might go in a bit later, but what we'll do very quickly is change the icon, and you can choose whichever icon you want, but let's try to pick one that kind of looks a little bit appropriate. Maybe this. All right, Subdivide. So the only thing that we're missing right now is a hotkey. So what I do, and I recommend, but you can do whatever you want, is I like to work with my mouse and my Intuos stylus. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this bar here. Now it's asking me for a key, and I'm going to press my right mouse button. There you go, right mouse button. And I'm going to do this together with, I think, Shift or Alt. What should we do? Let's do Shift. Save. So if now we go to the 3D viewport and I hold down Shift and I right click, bam, there we have our Subdivide. And now you may not immediately see it, but let's turn on the vertices as well. And let's turn off this annoying gizmo. And let's do this again with this edge. There you go. Here's our vert. I'm just going to increase our vert size so we can see it a little bit more clearly. Is it this one? No, that's the crease pencil. Vertex side. There you go. Much better. And while we're at it, let's do the outline as well. All right. So let's go back to the add-on. Okay, so let's go to here. Oh, I keep pressing tab because I'm forgetting that my other pie menus are not enabled. So maybe we should quickly turn on the default official pie menus. No, never really use these, but let's give them a try. There you go. So now I can quickly switch to edit and object. And these come with Blender. But we're looking specifically at the pie menu editor. So again, I go into edit mode, I select an edge, shift, right click, and drag, release, and there we go. We have our subdivision. I'll just add the vert. There we go. So now we want to add the F6, because after having done this, you might want to press F6 and increase the subdivision amount, right? But we want to do this in a quicker way. So let me show you another way of adding something to your pie menu. So let's put it at the top. So we click on this one, edit item, and we can do something like hotkey. And then in here we press F6 and we'll do it, we'll call it, let's just call it F6. There we go. And we can give it a nice icon of like a gear symbol or something like that. Gear symbol, gear symbol, gear symbol. Ooh. I'm blind, I'm not seeing it. So I'm just kind of wasting time. There we go. Here, press OK, save user settings. And now if I press shift and right mouse, you see we have RF6, which is pretty cool because this will work for everything now. So if we switch to face mode, go back to edit, click enable face here, and we do an end set, and now I can go to F6. Here we have the properties for the end set. So you can pretty much turn off the tools panel over here. And the same for bevel or whatever, any kind of tool, of course, that allows you to use the F6 properties menu. So now you have that at the tip of your finger, right? That's pretty cool. Right, so we can add a whole bunch of other stuff, right? You can add, for example, something that is as simple as switching between perspective and orthographic, which, you know, you can press the numpad F5, right? But it might be cool to have it also in your pie menu. Maybe instead what we'll do is isolate. That's a useful one. Let's duplicate this quickly just so we can illustrate. So if we want to isolate this item, we can press the / on the numpad, and then the item will be isolated. And we can find that. Where can we find that? Probably under view. Here we go. View global local. So we'll right click, pie menu editor, add to GDF modeling, and we'll add it to the right. There we go. So I'll go back to my panel here, and now we have local view. Let's call it isolate. There we go. And we can give it another icon that makes more sense. Maybe, I'm sure there's an appropriate one. This one. There you go. Okay. Save user settings, and now isolate. 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 There you go. And this will allow you to work a lot faster when you're modeling, obviously. So I'm just going to reduce the animation timeout on pie menus to 0 because we don't need that animation. It's another waste of time. And now see, gonna work very fast. Okay, let's jump to that other add-on that I mentioned called the merge tool. So let me show you what merge tool actually does. Merge tool, let's go into edit mode here. And you know, if you want to merge one vert to another vert, you have to select one, you have to select the other. It's Control M, oh no, sorry, it's Alt M, and then you can select a whole bunch of properties, like you want to merge it at the center, you want to merge it at the last, so then you merge it like that. So that's cool. It's a lot of functionality. It's great. But what we want to do is we want to just very quickly drag verts to each other to have them merged, and the merge tool does that in a very nice way. So let me illustrate. So if I press space and I look for merge tool, this is the one. Now the tool is enabled, and I simply click drag to another vert and it'll merge to it. And it's still active at the moment, so I can continue to merge. And the nice thing about this tool is that when you're done, you just press right click. So now I'm done, and you can undo each step like that. So this tool or this add-on doesn't have a shortcut at the moment, and would be cool to add it to our pie menu. So the way we can do this is we can, maybe we'll put it to the, this one over here. So we edit item, and what we can do is right click here, and then you have a whole bunch of other options. You can use another pie menu, you can use an operator, you can even load an external script, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, but we'll look for the operator. So we'll just type merge tool operator, there you go, and we will call it merge tool, and then we will change it to this one. Save, and now merge tool, and awesome. The other tool that I think is worth mentioning would be the line tool. I'm just going to enable it. This again is shipped by default with Blender. If you're not using it, you're missing out. So we'll just enable it, leave these settings how they are. Go back to the Pie menu editor, move this aside. I'll just save my settings. So, you know, if you want to make edges and cut stuff, you can use the knife tool, which is K, and I can just, you know, kind of snap, but it's, you see, it's a little bit awkward sometimes. Like it doesn't really snap properly or doesn't recognize some of the edges, and it's still a very powerful tool, and you can use it in some ways that you cannot use the line tool. But as a modeler, I don't really like the knife tool that much. I prefer the line tool. So here's the line tool. Line tool should be added now to the tools panel, and if you press the line, we do the same thing. There you go, and you see it kind of snaps, and it has a whole bunch of other cool properties that you can adjust the snapping and, you know, all that stuff. But we're not going to go into detail with the line tool. All you need to know is that it's, in my opinion, kind of a better knife tool. It's more accurate. So we just want to add this one as well. And again, the way to do this, right click here. Oh, let me go back. Pie menu editor, and we'll add it top left. So here it is, the line tool. There you go. And we'll just look for a line. There we go. Save. And now, oh, if we shift right click, line tool. There you go. It's working. So let me see. Other things that you might want to add to this menu is simple connect. So let's say that I want to connect these two with an edge. I just press J and it will connect the two verts based on the order that it was selected in. And you can find that under mesh, and I believe it's vertices, connect vertex path. So let's add this one as well, and we will add it to the bottom left. There you go. And now here it is. So of course you have to first select the verts, and then it will connect. You know, you get the idea. You can customize and do a whole bunch of, you can customize it based on however you like modeling. I think another worthwhile one is if you want to like separate. I do a lot of separation. So I select the stuff, and then I want to press P and separate selection, and like that kind of stuff. I do a lot of that. And if you have it quickly inside of your pie menu, that's that'll save you some time as well. There's a few things to watch out for. The context. So at the moment, this is set up to this specific pie menu is set up to work in the window context. You might want to set it to I think mesh. Yeah, you might want to set it to mesh, because some stuff won't work, and especially if it's add-ons and not native Blender stuff, it might cause some trouble. So for example, I'm in object mode now, and if I go to the merge tool, the merge tool shouldn't be allowed to be active here, and yet it is. And if I enable it, well, actually nothing happens. I don't know, it is now actually in the merge tool mode. So even though there's nothing showing me that it is kind of, because I select something, maybe not. So maybe it isn't such a problem, but it's confusing because I shouldn't be able to use it. And I think it's the same for the line tool, but the line tool is a good enough add-on that it automatically switches to edit mode. The merge tool doesn't do that. And that doesn't mean the merge tool is a bad tool. It's a free tool, and it's actually a really awesome, fantastic tool that should be a native tool in Blender, in my opinion. But the merge tool doesn't do that. So you might want to switch menus depending on what the context is to where you want them where you want to see them being used. So for example, we have mesh now, and if I'm in object mode, it's not showing. I'm pressing shift and right clicking, and it's not showing up. But the advantage of this is that maybe you want to have another pie menu that uses shift right mouse button, but is only used in the context of the window, or in another context. It could be a whole bunch of other contexts. I think I accidentally pressed the wrong hotkey. There you go. So the pie menu editor is really fantastic in my opinion. And I would like to point out that the pie menu editor is a proposal on right-click select. So if I go to right-click select and I press Pi, I believe this is the one. So this proposal covers a whole bunch of stuff, but one of the things that it covers is customizable Pi menus, and it is actually referencing, as an example, this fantastic add-on. So who should use this add-on? I think everyone who actually models and wants to speed up their modeling should use this add-on. If you are very fluent with Python, then I think you might be better off just scripting your own Pi menus. That's what I would do if I was good with Python, but I am not at all. So I rely on this one and a few other add-ons that cover some Pi menu stuff. But this one is really fantastic, and I only scratched the tip of the iceberg here. There's a lot more to this add-on than just creating Pi menus. So check out the YouTube channel of the creator and the Gumroad documentation, which covers a lot of the other features which are useful. And it's like, you know, once you start digging into it, you can spend days setting up your whole system. So it's a little bit of a time sink once you start getting into it, but at the very least, check out the Pi menu editor for the Pi menus, because that'll save you a lot of time. Okay, so check out in the description the links to all that stuff. And if you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, consider subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment, thumbs up, all that stuff. You don't have to. All right, bye-bye.